There are two kinds of routines in a relationship. The ones you build together, and the ones you cling to because if you let go, the whole damn thing might fall apart. Ours was brunch. Every Sunday morning at 11 a.m., rain or shine, hangover or not, we walked 3 blocks down to a little place called Juneberry. They knew our names, knew our order. Hers, eggs Benedict with extra hollandaise. Mine, sourdough French toast and black coffee. We even had our booth by the window, the one with the chipped ceramic tile and a view of the park where we used to argue about whether that tree was an elm or a maple. Brunch was sacred, until it wasn't. It started a month ago. I woke up to an empty bed, which wasn't totally unusual. Emma was always an early riser. I wandered into the kitchen in my sweats, expecting to find her sipping herbal tea and scrolling Zillow listings she'd never buy. Instead, she was already dressed. Makeup done. Hair curled like she was headed to a wedding. She smiled too quickly. Hey, I didn't want to wake you. I'm just gonna skip brunch today. That yanked me out of my sleepy haze. Skip? What? She grabbed her phone like it was a lifeline. The line was already crazy when I passed by. I figured I'd just grab something from home. We can go next weekend. I blinked. You just walked there? Yeah, just wanted some air. Her tone was off. Too casual. Like someone trying to explain why they weren't hiding a body under the floorboards. And she'd said home instead of here, as if wherever she'd actually eaten was somewhere else. Somewhere private. But I didn't say anything. I smiled, nodded, acted like I believed her. Because that's what you do when something doesn't feel right. You don't stomp your foot and demand answers. You play dumb. You let the lie stretch a little longer, long enough for it to tangle. She tossed a brown paper bag into the trash before heading to the bedroom to change. After the shower started running, I waited a beat, then opened the trash. And there it was. A receipt. 1 o'clock. Juneberry. 2 entrees. 2 coffees. A shared blueberry tart. 2 people. Not 0. Not 1. 2. I took a photo of the receipt and slipped it into my pocket. I didn't need to keep it, not really. I'd already memorized the timestamp, the total, the server's name. My brain does that when it smells betrayal. It goes full forensic accountant. I didn't confront her that day, or the next. I let things simmer. The next Sunday, I got up early, said I was going for a jog. Instead, I slipped around the corner and stood across the street from Juneberry with a newspaper and a pair of sunglasses I hadn't worn since 2016. At exactly 10:56 a.m., she showed up. She wasn't alone. I nearly missed him at first. He came from the other side, all casual in jeans and a denim jacket, hands stuffed in his pockets. They didn't touch. Not there. Not in public. But the second they sat down, her whole body tilted toward him like a sunflower chasing light. I didn't get a good look at his face, but I recognized his shoes. Nike slip-ons. Black, with a little green stitch on the heel. Shoes I'd seen before. In our damn laundry basket. Weeks ago, I chalked it up to our upstairs neighbor being forgetful. He's the only one who shares the laundry room with us. A 30-something divorcee, named Kyle, who listens to Joe Rogan on speakerphone and always asks to borrow my drill. He'd knock, flash his dumb grin, and say something like, "Hey man, I think I dropped a sock in your dryer again. Mind if I?" I'd let him in. Every time. Because who suspects the guy who lives 10 feet above your ceiling? Now I did. But again, I didn't confront. Not yet. Because if you're gonna gut someone with the truth, you don't use a spoon. You sharpen the knife. I needed confirmation. So I called Juneberry on Monday. "Hi there," I said in my chipper, white guy voice. "My wife and I come in pretty regularly, usually Sundays. I was wondering if I could book a private brunch event in your back room." The hostess was sweet. Said they loved doing small events. Asked if I was thinking anniversary, birthday, engagement. Closer to a reunion, I said. She checked availability. We could do 2 Sundays from now. That would give us time to prepare. How many guests? Let's say 20. Friends, family. Can you close off the back? Of course. Want to reserve your usual booth too? I paused. Actually, I said, let's leave that one open. She laughed. You got it. I'll put you down. I hung up and stared at my phone. 20 guests. 20 people to witness the unraveling of a lie served sunny side up. Now I had to bait the trap. I spent the next week being the most attentive husband on the planet. I made her coffee every morning. Rubbed her shoulders when she claimed to be sore from yoga. I even left sticky notes in her lunchbox. Little, I love you, that made her eyes glisten just enough to make me want to vomit. I told her I wanted to plan something special for her, to celebrate us. She bit. I love that, she said, touching my hand. Can we do something low-key? Totally, I said. Brunch, maybe. She hesitated. We always do brunch. I smiled. Exactly. She nodded, slow. Maybe next Sunday? I'll make the reservation, I said, kissing her forehead. And this time, I meant it. But I wasn't making it for two. I was making it for a reckoning. After I found that receipt in the trash, I sat on the couch for an hour, just holding it, flipping it back and forth like it might suddenly disappear or explain itself. Brunch for two. Her card. Her usual order. And the timestamp? Smack in the middle of when she said she was home, folding laundry. It's wild how quickly your brain goes from, maybe it's nothing, to this is a murder board, and I'm connecting red strings. She'd come home that Sunday, all casual, in leggings and one of my hoodies, hair damp like she'd showered. Told me the line was ridiculous, so she just came home and made eggs. Claimed she saw some old lady pass out in line. Even made up the ambulance. And I ate that story like the sucker I was. But now the eggs, the hoodie, the wet hair, it all felt staged. A set. A cover. You want to know the worst part? My first instinct wasn't rage. It was admiration. She'd played it smooth. Really smooth. Lying with texture. Lying with color. She didn't just say she came home. She built a whole narrative around it. Gave it depth. Atmosphere. A performance. That scared me more than the receipt. Because you don't get that good unless you've had practice. So I did what any betrayed husband with a touch of restraint and a dash of pettiness would do. I didn't confront her. I investigated. Step 1. Confirm the pattern. I needed to know if this was a one-time slip or part of a routine. I waited until the next Sunday rolled around. She woke up early, like always, stretched, yawned, and said, I'll swing by the cafe. You want anything? I smiled. Nah, I'm good. Leftovers. She kissed my forehead. Back soon. I gave her a 10-minute head start, then followed. Didn't even bother being subtle. I walked half a block behind her like a damn PI in a trench coat. Only I was wearing gym shorts and a hoodie, because if I was going to get cheated on, I might as well be comfy. She rounded the corner, and I ducked behind a bus stop ad for teeth whitening. Classy. When I peeked out, I saw her, turning not toward the cafe, but toward a different street altogether. Interesting. I let her get a little farther, then followed again. She stopped in front of a familiar brick building, our brunch spot. But instead of heading in, she pulled out her phone and stood near the hostess stand. I hung back across the street and pretended to tie my shoe 3 separate times. After about 2 minutes, he showed up. Tall, hoodie, sunglasses, hands in pockets. And when she saw him, her face lit up like a Christmas window. They didn't hug, didn't kiss, but the way they stood, bodies tilted just slightly inward, like magnets about to touch, was all I needed to see. They were seated within 2 minutes. Same table we always asked for. It was like watching a rerun of my own life. Only I'd been recast. I didn't stay. I walked away. Not because I was too hurt to watch, but because I needed to plan. This wasn't just betrayal. This was betrayal rehearsed. She wasn't just cheating. She'd scheduled it. Built it into our Sundays like it was part of the weather. And I wasn't going to burn her over it. No. That would be too kind. I was going to humiliate her. Publicly. With witnesses. And ideally, while she was still chewing. But first, I needed confirmation. I needed a name. So that week, while she was in the shower, I borrowed her phone. And yes, I know, privacy, boundaries, blah blah blah. But let's be honest, that died the minute she started sleeping with whoever that was over Eggs Benedict. She had a passcode, of course. But she was lazy. It was still our anniversary date. I scrolled through her texts. Nothing obvious. Then her calendar. Bingo. Every Sunday. Yoga brunch. 10 a.m. Cute. I tapped it open. The event wasn't recurring. It was reinvited each week. Created by someone named Max M. I tapped the contact. No photo. Just a number and the initial M. But the number. I recognized it. Our upstairs neighbor. Max. The guy who always left his socks in our dryer by accident. The guy who accidentally received our Amazon packages. The guy who once asked if he could borrow sugar and winked while saying it. I wanted to throw her phone across the room, but I didn't. Instead, I took a screenshot. Then I texted myself her brunch calendar. Then I put the phone back on the nightstand. She came out of the bathroom in a towel, humming. Asked what I was doing. Just checking work emails, I lied. She smiled, kissed me on the head. Thanks for trusting me, she said. The irony almost knocked me unconscious. That night, while she slept, I made the call. Our brunch spot. I knew the owner. We'd been going there for 3 years. Hey, Raj, I said when he picked up. Quick question. Of course, my friend. You want your usual reservation for 2 this weekend? No, I said. Actually, I want something special. I paused. How big is the back room? He laughed. Private events only. But for you? What's the occasion? Anniversary, I said. Big surprise brunch. Want to invite all our friends. Make it look casual, but fancy. Got it, he said. You want mimosas? Oh, definitely, I said. And your wife? She'll be surprised. He laughed. She always is. Yeah, not this time. This time, I'd be the one with the surprise. And it was going to be delicious. The next few days were a slow burn of forced smiles and carefully orchestrated silences. She moved through the apartment like nothing had changed. Humming in the mornings. Texting on the couch. Kissing my cheek before bed. She still wore my t-shirts to sleep. The ones she used to steal from my side of the dresser like it was some act of romance. Now it just felt like a costume. A uniform for a role she'd already quit, but didn't have the guts to officially resign from. I watched her more than I spoke. Watched her phone habits. Watched her expressions when she smiled at messages. Watched how she didn't flinch when I said, I love you. Just smiled back and said, you too. Like it was a receipt, not a reply. By Thursday, I'd finalized everything. Raj was on board. He even helped with the guest list, said he had our old reservation logs. I told him to invite every couple we'd ever dined with there, plus a few of her old yoga friends and mutuals from her office. You want it to be a full house? He asked. No, I said. I want it to be the exact amount of people she doesn't want to see when she walks in with him. He didn't ask for details after that. I gave him the list. Printed it. Emailed it. Cross-checked it with old Christmas cards and tagged photos on Instagram. Then I got to work on phase 2, the setup. I drafted a group message, something warm, celebratory, casual. Hey friends, I've got a big surprise planned for our anniversary brunch this Sunday. Back room at our favorite spot. Mimosas, food, the works. Just come hungry and ready to toast. And SHHH, don't mention it to her. I want her jaw on the floor. Reactions started rolling in within minutes. Red heart, OMG, can't wait. Clapping hands, you guys are goals. Face with tears of joy, if this is anything like your karaoke birthday. I'm already scared. I smiled at that one. Oh, you have no idea. Friday night, I played it cool. We watched a movie on the couch. She snuggled in, her head on my shoulder. Her legs stretched across mine like nothing had shifted. But I could feel it. The weight of her was different. Not heavier, just emptier. Like she wasn't with me, not really. Just killing time until Sunday morning. Still up for brunch? I asked, stroking her arm. She nodded. I'll get up early and beat the crowd. I leaned down and kissed her hair. That's my girl. If she noticed the way my voice cracked, she didn't mention it. Sunday came. I woke early. Earlier than her. Made coffee. Took a long shower. Put on the shirt she liked. The one she said made me look put together, but still kissable. I even spritzed the cologne she bought me on our 3rd anniversary. The one she said made me smell like a man who knew what he was doing. Ironic. She got up, yawning, stretching, tying her hair back like a tired little soldier. Still pretending. You want anything? She asked, slipping on her running shoes. I smiled. Nah, I'll grab something later. She nodded. Be back soon. You always are. She didn't even blink. Just grabbed her purse and left. As soon as the door shut, I moved. Raj had texted. Everyone was arriving. I grabbed my jacket, locked the door behind me, and walked 2 blocks to the cafe. Heart hammering. The back room was perfect. Soft jazz playing. Orange juice flowing. Everyone dressed just slightly better than they would for normal brunch. Not too flashy. Not too casual. Just the way she liked it. There were maybe 20 people, mutual friends, co-workers, some from her book club, a couple from our gym. Her old manager from when she worked at the design firm even showed up with his wife. They were all buzzing, all grinning, all waiting for the big, moment when I walked her in. Only, the real moment was going to be very different. Raj pulled me aside. She show up yet? Any second now, I said. You okay? I nodded. Ask me again in 5 minutes. He clapped my shoulder and walked off. I stood at the edge of the room, pretending to sip coffee, heart doing flips, stomach tight as wire. Then I heard the bell. That little jingle at the front entrance. Voices. Laughter. Hers. And his. I peeked through the glass partition, just enough to see them walking together. Max. Freaking Max. The neighbor with the unmatched socks. The guy who always forgot his mail key and had to buzz our apartment. The guy who once commented on how cozy our couch looked. He was holding her hand. Briefly. Casually. Like they did it all the time. She was smiling. Hair curled. Lipstick a shade she never wore around me. And then I saw it. The way she touched his arm, leaned in like she belonged there. That was it. No more pretending. I stepped back into the middle of the back room and raised my hand. Ladies and gentlemen, I said, thank you for coming. Everyone looked at me, holding their drinks, mid-convo. You're about to witness the surprise of the century. I walked toward the double doors just as Raj opened them from the front. And there she was, frozen, mid-step, eyes wide, hand still halfway in Max's. 20 pairs of eyes locked on her at once. Someone gasped. Someone else whispered, is that? And then, silence. You could hear a napkin drop. Max took a small step back, confused. She looked at me like I'd just come back from the dead. Surprise, I said. She tried to speak. Failed. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish yanked from water. Brunch for two, I said, holding up the reservation confirmation. Looks like you double booked. One of our friends, Shelley, stepped forward. Wait, is that Max? Max. From upstairs. I looked around. Yep. Max from 3B. Guess the missing socks weren't an accident after all. Laughter. Nervous. Disbelieving. But laughter. She turned bright red. Max tried to walk away, but the crowd parted like the Red Sea, leaving him nowhere to go. I told everyone this was a surprise, I said. And hey, I was right. She tried to speak again. This time, words came out. I can explain. I smiled. Oh, I'm sure you can. But brunch is over. Then I turned to Raj. Bring the check. Max was the first to crack. You could see it in his eyes, the moment he realized he wasn't just at some awkward run-in. No, he had walked right into a loaded bear trap with 50 pairs of eyes watching him squirm. He tugged his sleeve, glanced at her, then at me, then at the door, calculating exit strategies like a rat in a glass maze. But the door wasn't the way out. Not today. Not when this entire room had seen what they saw. Not when my carefully planted seeds had finally bloomed into full-blown humiliation. The brunch crowd wasn't laughing anymore. Now it was just awkward murmurs, choked coughs, and the sound of iced coffee melting untouched in glasses. She looked at me like I'd slapped her. Her voice shook. You planned this. I tilted my head. You mean a surprise brunch with all our closest friends? Absolutely. She narrowed her eyes. You knew? I laughed, quiet, sharp. I'm not an idiot, Mia. That silenced her. Raj walked over, slipping a folded piece of paper into my hand. It was the itemized receipt, the one with the standing reservation in her name. For two. Every Sunday. Same table. Same time. Under her name, with his phone number as the backup. I held it up like a magician showing the final card in his trick. Your brunch tab, I said. Thought I'd cover one last meal before we're officially done. Mia tried to reach for it. Don't. But I pulled it back. This isn't just a receipt, I said. This is a timeline. A list of Sundays you told me the line was too long. That you came home and ate cereal instead. That you were too tired, or too bloated, or just not in the mood for eggs. Shelley muttered, damn. I turned to Max. And you? Man, you really played the long game. Huh? Accidentally leaving socks in our laundry. Asking to borrow our wine opener. Pretending to bump into her in the hallway like a sitcom neighbor with a crush. He swallowed. Look. No. You don't get to talk, I snapped. You climbed 4 floors every week to get into my wife. But couldn't once climb the decency ladder to not do it in our shared building. Someone coughed to cover a gasp. Mia tried again. You don't understand. No. I said louder now. You don't understand. I gave you every chance. Every Sunday. Every lie I let slide because I thought maybe, just maybe, the person I married wasn't a walking cliché. Then I pointed at the crowd. But they get it now? All of them. You didn't just betray me. You embarrassed yourself. You did it loudly. Repeatedly. In our favorite place. Her mouth opened. Shut. Max turned to leave. Not so fast, I said, loud enough to stop him mid-step. Got one more thing. I walked to the table where Raj had laid out a small tablet connected to the cafe's Wi-Fi. With a tap, the wall-mounted TV flickered to life. Max's face blanched the second the drone footage played. It was silent, no audio, but you could see them, clear as daylight, standing outside the back entrance of the cafe. Her in that red dress. Him with his hand on her lower back. Kissing. Laughing. Holding hands. Timestamp. Exactly 11:43 a.m. last Sunday. There was no mistaking it. No way to explain around it. Even the waiter walked out from the kitchen, looked up at the footage, and mumbled, "Oh hell no." The room went dead silent. No one even sipped anymore. Mia backed up a step. Max just stared at the floor. Then came the moment I'd been waiting for. I looked at Mia, right in the eyes. "Why him?" I asked. "Out of every man on this planet, why him? Our neighbor? The guy who still borrows eggs like we're living in a sitcom?" She didn't answer. So I continued. "You wanted comfort? Thrill? Attention? Fine. But don't wrap it in yoga and oat milk and tell me it's brunch." Still no answer. So I drove the knife in deeper. "Did you ever stop to think about what you were throwing away? About the people in this room? The trust? The history?" Her lip trembled. "I made a mistake." "No. You made repeated choices. A mistake is slipping on the sidewalk. You took an elevator every Sunday to lie." Max finally found his voice. "Look, man." I turned to him. "You should really move out," I said calmly. "Because if you think I'm petty now, try bumping into me in the hallway every morning." He nodded quickly. "Got it. Good boy." Then I turned back to the crowd. "Thanks for coming, everyone. Hope the food was worth the drama." Raj called out, "Best brunch I've ever hosted." The crowd finally broke into uneasy laughter. Some clapped. Others whispered. A few gave me that look, the one that said he deserved better. And for once, I believed it. That afternoon, I went home alone. Packed a bag. Booked a hotel for a few days. I didn't want to sleep in that apartment. Not yet. Let her sit in the silence she created. Let her hear the echo of the truth in every room. Later that night, she called. I didn't answer. The next day, she texted. Just one line. "Please let me explain." I left it on read. The only explanation I wanted came from a divorce lawyer, and I had one on speed dial by noon. By the time Monday morning rolled around, Mia had turned into a ghost. Not the vanishing kind. No, that would have been a mercy. She was the haunting kind. Lingering. Floating in and out of texts. Whispering apologies through digital cracks. Trying to possess the life she shattered with trembling fingers and too late truths. At 7:02 a.m., she sent. I didn't mean for it to go that far. By 8:15 a.m., "Can we please talk before you make any decisions?" At 9:27 a.m., she escalated. "He meant nothing. I was lonely. You were always working. Please just see me." See her? Oh, I saw her, clearer than ever. I saw her in drone footage and brunch receipts, and in the pitying stares of our friends who'd watched her walk into a party she wasn't supposed to be in. I spent that Monday working remotely from a hotel suite downtown. The hotel wasn't fancy, but it had thick walls, decent coffee, and, most importantly, zero memories of her. I called a lawyer named Gina Patel. Sharp as glass and twice as dangerous. A friend of a friend who specialized in quiet exits from messy marriages. She listened to everything, even the drone story, and didn't blink once. When I was done, she said, "We'll make this clean. You want the apartment?" "Yes." "Alimony?" "No. Just out." "Reputation?" I laughed. She nuked that herself. "Then let's get started." She sent over the first draft of the filing that evening. It felt like signing a death certificate, but instead of grief, all I felt was relief. Mia must have felt the shift in the air. By Tuesday morning, she was outside my hotel. No knock. Just a silent presence I spotted through the peephole, her leaning against the wall like a teenager caught sneaking in late. Her hair in a bun, no makeup, wearing my old college hoodie like it could protect her from what she'd done. I didn't open the door. She knocked once. Soft, like she knew I wouldn't answer. She left an envelope under the door. I waited 10 minutes, then picked it up. Inside were old photos. Us, smiling in front of that very brunch place 3 years ago. Us, with our dog before he passed. A note, scribbled on the back of a print. "This is who we were. Please don't let this end in hate." Too late. This wasn't hate. This was clarity. This was years of ignoring red flags, unraveling into one perfect Sunday where the truth tripped over its own lies and landed face first in front of 50 witnesses. I didn't reply, but I did keep the photo. Not out of nostalgia, out of documentation. I wanted to remember the version of her I used to love, so I never fell for someone like her again. By Thursday, the group chat was still on fire. The Brunch friends, now known as the Brunch Squad, had unofficially turned into my support group. Shelley sent a meme of a waffle with a frown drawn in syrup and the caption, "Me when brunch gets spicy." Raj followed up with, "Still can't believe she brought the side piece into the main course." I appreciated the humor. They were helping me keep my sanity through sarcasm. Even Sam, the quiet one who never liked drama, messaged me privately. "Just so you know, you handled that like a damn surgeon. Surgical strike. No mess. No screaming. Just facts." That message meant more than any of Mia's apologies. Because I had handled it clean. Precise. I hadn't shouted. I hadn't begged. I hadn't gone online or burned her clothes or keyed Max's car. I just made her show up and let the truth introduce itself. Friday night, Max was gone. I came by the apartment to pick up a few things. His door upstairs was wide open. Movers carried out boxes marked kitchen and books and do not break. I stood in the hallway and watched him pretend not to see me. He avoided eye contact like it was radioactive. I gave him a single nod. He didn't return it. I didn't need him to. He had already been publicly ejected. What more was there to say? But just as I turned to unlock my door, he called out, "Hey man." I paused. Waited. "I didn't know she was still married when we started," he said. I turned slowly. "That's the story you're going with." He looked genuinely nervous. "She said you were separated. That it was over." I walked back toward him, calm, deliberate. "You mean the same woman who said she made brunch at home, while she was out sipping mimosas with you?" He flinched. "That's the woman you're trusting?" He opened his mouth. Closed it. I nodded. "Thought so." He started to say something else. I shut my door. Hard. Saturday morning, I returned the apartment key to Gina's office. She smiled as she took it. "You sure you're ready to be done?" I nodded. She slid the paperwork across the desk. "Sign here." I did. "Any regrets?" she asked. "Just one," I said. "That I didn't check the trash sooner." She laughed. "Most men don't." The final text from Mia came Sunday morning. Exactly 1 week after the brunch. No preamble. No apology. Just, "You really never loved me, did you?" I stared at it for a long time. Then typed, "I did. But you loved brunch more." Sent. Blocked. Done. I didn't think closure would come on a Tuesday afternoon, in a coffee shop, of all places, while reading a menu I wasn't planning to order from. But that's how life is, right? Quiet when you expect loud. Simple when you brace for chaos. I was sitting near the window of a new cafe 2 blocks from the old brunch spot. My laptop open, emails unread, notifications off. I wasn't working. Not really. Just sitting, letting the world move around me without demanding anything from it. Then I heard her voice. Mia's. Not near me. Not even directed at me. Just nearby. She was outside, across the street, standing under the awning of that same brunch place where it all imploded. Wearing a denim jacket, holding a phone to her ear, pacing. Talking fast. I couldn't hear the words. Didn't need to. She looked smaller now. Not physically. Just diminished. Not the woman who walked into our surprise brunch with a smug little smirk and a man on her arm. Not the woman who lied with ease and flipped pancakes like guilt didn't exist. This Mia looked like someone who was searching, but for what? Even she didn't seem to know. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Instead, I sipped my coffee and turned my gaze away. Because the thing about revenge, real revenge, is that it doesn't need a second act. It just needs silence. A month passed. Then 2. People stopped asking how I was. That's how you know you're healing. When curiosity fades and pity dries up. I changed gyms. Got a dog. A mutt from the shelter named Waffles. Ugly little guy. Looked like he ran headfirst into a bread loaf and got stuck halfway. But he was loyal. Quiet. Followed me room to room like he couldn't believe I existed. We went for walks. Long ones. Through the park. Past the brunch place. Once I saw Max solo this time. Sitting inside. Headphones in. No date. No Mia. Funny, isn't it? How they never seem to last once they get what they think they want. I didn't wave. He didn't look up. Waffles pooped on the sidewalk out front. I considered it karma. I got a letter in the mail one Thursday. From Mia. No return address. No heart sticker. Just my name in her handwriting. plain and careful. Inside was a folded sheet of notebook paper. I've moved. I'm not asking to talk. I just wanted you to know that. Max and I aren't together. It was never real. None of it felt real. Except you. And I don't expect forgiveness. I just hope someday you'll remember something good about us. Even if you don't remember me. I read it twice. Then fed it through my shredder. Piece by piece. Waffles barked once like he agreed. Later that night, I was walking him through the city when I saw something that made me stop. There was a couple ahead of us. Laughing. Holding hands. Waiting at the crosswalk like the world hadn't ever hurt them. And I felt nothing. Not bitterness. Not jealousy. Not hope. Just clean. Like someone had finally scrubbed the smoke and oil out of my lungs. And it hit me. She didn't ruin love for me. She ruined herself. And I survived it. I rebuilt from the receipt in the trash. I endured the humiliation of brunch betrayal. And I walked out the other side without letting it make me cruel. Without becoming the kind of man who weaponizes pain. Just the kind of man who knows what he deserves now. So here's what I learned. If the story doesn't add up, it's because it was never yours to believe in the first place. If she says the line was too long, check the damn trash. And if she ever shows up to brunch with someone else, let the whole damn room be watching when she walks in. Because some lies deserve to be broken in public. Not out of spite, but because the truth is louder than denial and way more satisfying to serve cold. Especially with mimosas. Subscribe to the channel